listening to the On the Blue Line podcast, covering the National Hockey League and more hockey news. Here are your hosts now, Phil Bernardi and Chad Van Doorzen. And thanks again, folks, for joining us on the Blue Line podcast, the hockey podcast covering all things hockey and in the NHL. Hi, my name is Phil Bernardi, and for my partner,
Chad Van Doorzen.
Thank you for joining us again. We are on JudCastRadio.com, WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 AM, and you can find us on our YouTube channel
on the Blue Line.
All right, so we have a game to recap, Chad. It was a pretty good one last night.
Which one was that?
Well, last night we watched Chicago taking on Arizona in the desert.
Yeah, there was. I honestly thought it was at the United Center. So many Blackhawks fans.
Yeah, I mean, there were actually more than usual. I would say maybe about 70%.
70% to make that. Yeah, you were hearing the chant, "Let's go Hawks!" the first period. Man, I definitely thought it was at the United Center.
Well, speaking of first period, let's get to it, man. Okay, right. So our goalies in net was Corey Crawford for the Hawks and Mike Smith, the All-Star for the Coyotes this past weekend for Arizona. And I got to say, Mike Smith scored a goal in the All-Star game competition.
He did.
Yeah, so for everyone that's watched the Blackhawks games, you know how they put the boards up during the intermission for the shoot the puck contest? Yeah. Well, they have the one little slot in the middle. He hit that from his own goal.
Wow. You win like $500 or airfare at the United Center. This is a goalie we're talking, and it's the whole rink. Yeah, you know what? When it comes down to the All-Star game, and the All-Star, event, you really get to appreciate the skill of these players, such as Mike Smith, who's on a poor team, but his talent alone, you finally got to see it, and it's nice. Yeah, and here's a little nugget of information too. He was the oldest All-Star there at 34 years old. Wow. Yeah, there were a lot of young talent. There's a lot more young talent now. I know it was Patrick Laine's rookie year. That's his first time there. Yeah, there was a few young guys, but so then with the first period, Kane started off the scoring with a power play goal off the face-off dot. It was a nice top shelf goal. He had lots of room for that goal. Yeah, he basically could walk right in, and sure enough, he did. And with that goal, he tied Jeremy Roenick for 7th all-time in Hawks history for goals with his 267th goal. Yeah. That's pretty good for a young fella. Yeah, it happened pretty quick. Well, he's sure going to be climbing up that ladder. Yeah. 16th goal of the season, by the way. Yes. Good call, Chad. And so then the Hawks made it 2-0 with a goal by Ryan Hartman. It was a nice blue line shot with a giant screen in front of the net. It looked to be like 4 or 5 guys, and then looked like maybe 3 were Coyotes. Yeah. Quenneville was saying before the game they haven't had one All-Star line for the team, but Desjardins, Hartman, and Carroll seem to be very effective so far. Yeah, and also a little bit after that, Desjardins recorded an assist on the Hartman goal. His first point in 33 games, so he's off the schneid now. He finally got a point. Everyone on the Hawks now has a point. Yeah, and when you have that, a lot of successful teams have that, and hopefully that's the case for the Hawks. Desjardins, he ended up getting a fight later on in the game, but the goal by Hartman was halfway through the first period, and it was the second goal in 72 seconds. Oh yeah. The Hawks struck twice really quickly, and it really took a lot out of the Coyotes right at the beginning of the game. Yeah, and the thing by Desjardins, though, was after, I believe that was, afterwards there was a fight, and it was instigated, by Desjardins. He tipped Verdbada, then somebody came in. And Luke Shen. Luke Shen. And the thing is, when you have a 3-goal lead, you do not need to do that. The Coyotes were able to bounce back after that because that was a boost in momentum. I just don't agree with it, Phil. Speaking of that 3-0, that third goal was pretty by Marian Hossa, his 19th of the season. Oh yeah, they're setting up Hossa a lot with these, him cutting right through and using his speed. Yeah, they're really using him well. He just split right through the defense like a hot knife through butter, man. Yeah. Nice for an old guy. It was also. He did a little backhand forehand. That Panarin pass, though, to him, like you said,
He just put it perfectly on the tape, right through the blue line, timed it just nicely for Hossa to split the D.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Perfecto. But then I also noticed on that goal, Mike Smith was way, way, way too deep in his net. It looked like his neck was going to hit the crossbar.
You're the goalie guy, not me. I'll take your word for it.
I mean, you're giving up a lot of holes. I mean, no wonder Hossa picked his spot.
Yeah, but if you see him like on the ice, like after the plays, he's breathing, whatever. At the end of the first period, they were just toying with them, tiring these guys out, and for him to be out of position, I really think that he's a great goalie on a poor team.
I think the Coyotes weren't really ready for the Hawks' speed. The Hawks really came out jumping, but then right after that, like we mentioned, Desjardins.
Yes.
That's who got in the fight. He kind of gave Verbata a little cross-check. Verbata gave him one back, and then Shen came in defending his guy. And I mean, Shen pretty much manhandled him. I haven't seen Luke Shen that angry since he was a Leaf.
How about since he was a King?
He's been around the block, hasn't he?
Yeah. I definitely, with this game, I would take anything away from that first period. That was a beautiful first period. I don't know what they were thinking in the second, but the Coyotes will bounce back.
That first period, they outshot Arizona 14-6, and they also were 2 for 2 on the power play that period.
Yeah, and the Coyote, like you were saying about the Hawks' speed, the Coyotes, they were too scared at first. They seemed like they were putting the 5 guys on the red line, forcing the Hawks to dump it. The Hawks still found a way with their speed, and it was really that first period that was just it was awesome. We need to see more periods like that.
Yeah, the Coyotes kind of played the trap, and that's their game, and it really didn't match up too well in the first period for them.
Yeah.
On to the second. Arizona started the period off with a 2-man advantage. 2 minutes into the second, and sure enough, they made it 3-1. The power play goal by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a one-timer with the 2-man advantage. So it had left 30 seconds left on the second power play.
Yeah,
that goal was pretty. You see how they all rotated in the setup?
Yeah, defensemen going high and low.
Well, the thing is, Ekman-Larsson, or OEL as they call him in the NHL, mm-hmm. he's on the left point, and he switched all the way down to the right face-off dot to catch that nice pass. I think it might have been from Hansel. Hansel's a big body, so he might have been in front of the net. But just the way he came down, and because he passed it down to the left face-off dot, the guy in the left dot then waited for him to move to the right dot and just passed it over for a nice one-timer because he's a left-handed shot.
Yeah, it was a beautiful cycle, and Martin Hansel, I believe that was his 500th game. I hope that's one of the guys that the Hawks get the trade deadline because he's such a great centerman, great face-off guy.
He's a big guy like Anisimov.
I mean, yeah.
You have another big body center with some hands like that?
Yeah.
He would be an awesome third-line center.
I think so. I mean, Kruger always gets hurt, so... you would
maybe
even
fourth line with that because he's kind of good defensively.
Great defensively, yeah, I agree with that 100%. Because Carroll's young, but Martin Hansel, I believe he's been to the postseason. I'm not quite sure on that one, but either way, he would be a great pickup for the Hawks.
So a little bit after this goal, the Coyotes got another 2-man advantage because the Hawks had 2 delay game penalties for shooting the puck out in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I was like, are they doing this on purpose, trying to make the game interesting?
It was just, it was a little bizarre because it was also from the same spot, and they got a third one later that period from the same spot again.
From Chalmers in that time.
The third one was, I believe, Brian Campbell, but the second one was Hjalmarsson. The first one was Kane.
Oh, wow.
So... But then Panarin made it 4-1 with a one-timer to make his 18th of the season.
Yeah. To
make it 4-1, and then the Coyotes came and stormed back. The Coyotes never give up. That's one thing you can always count on.
Yeah, even with the crowd against you at your own arena,
you're down 4-1 with maybe half a period left. Mm-hmm. And then, it's starting to become a little bit of a quote-unquote garbage time.
Yeah,
But anyone can win in the NHL. That's the thing about this game.
That's the greatest thing, especially when you give up a 5-on-3 for dump pucks over the glass. Any NHL team will take advantage of that.
Sorry, pardon me.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Coyotes were going into this game, 3 of the last 4 games they've won.
Well, they're a scrappy team, and scrappiness was surely led from the goal out. And
yeah.
When you have guys like Shane Doan and Mike Smith as the elder statesmen, and they're scrappy guys, it permeates towards the younger guys. Then Christian Dvorak, he tipped in a Shane Doan shot to make it 4-2 a little bit after the Panarin goal, and then Brandon Perlini, excuse me, I should know this since I'm an Italian. Made it 4-3. He scored on a 4-on-4 even strength goal, and then as we mentioned, Chicago then after that goal took the delay of game to make it 3 in a row in the second period to make it a 4-on-3, which is one of the rarest odd man combinations in the NHL. Usually it's always 5-on-5, 5-on-4, 4-on-4, 3-on-3.
5-on-3. Yeah, you don't.
Or
see
a 5-on-3. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's hardly the 4-on-3, which happened. And then the period ended. Arizona ended up out shooting Chicago that period 14-5. And Chicago still led 4-3. It was all Coyotes that second period. But the Hawks still were controlling the puck quite a bit.
And that's the thing. They're so skilled with the puck, and it's a huge advantage. Puck possession is more likely to get you wins than producing so many shots. Not always the case, but
they also had some mental lapses. That was the only way the Coyotes really scored, especially the Perlini goal.
The Perlini goal, yeah. That Brandon Perlini, we've been mentioning a lot about him lately, over the last couple of podcasts. And, ever since he scored that first one, I believe, within a couple months with the team that, they're more, like, the Coyotes are a type of team that, let's put it this way.
Yeah, they've been a bit scrappy, but he's starting to be a little skill player for him, and he's bringing a little flash there with Max Domi, and hopefully Anthony Duclair can pick his game up and be brought back up from the minors.
Oh yeah. One stat that I am currently looking up right now, because it's like been the first place stat, with the shots on goal. Their shooting percentage with these goals, like every single time they shoot the puck, it's either going to be a goal or not a goal. Like they look for those perfect type of shots, and that's the type of team the Coyotes also
like
are.
Those shots off the pads for rebounds and those rebound passes.
Exactly.
Well, while you're looking it up, man, I gotta just say there was no goals in the third period. But the Hawks had 7 shots on goal and the Coyotes had 6, so it was kind of a little chess match that last period. No one really wanted to do much since it was a close game. The Hawks didn't want to give up a goal. The Coyotes tried it, but the Hawks were doing pretty good defensively.
Yeah, I believe in that 3-goal losing streak. They gave up 3 goals to Winnipeg in the third period when they had a 4-3 lead, I believe. And, it's always a disappointment, so the Hawks finally closing it out is great. The one stat I wanted to look up for the shooting percentage is it's 58.3, and the league average is 32.1%.
That's for shots on goal?
Yes.
And that's the Coyotes?
Or the shooting percentage.
Wow. Well, they obviously are shooting the puck smart.
Exactly, and that's what they look for. And, if they can just get more talent, I mean, that's the team that they built. I mean, when they were owned by the NHL, that's the team that they also built around. And
I mean, they have a really self-imposed salary cap, and they do a great job with it, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
So here were the stats for the night. You got some too for this Hawks and Coyotes game, because I got some really good stats. I got the shots on goal, 27-26 in favor of Arizona, but Chicago had the advantage on the power play, 2 for 4, and the Coyotes were 1 for 5. The Hawks really gave up 3 unnecessary penalties with all those delayed games.
Yeah, it was sure disappointment. I don't have a whole lot of stats here, but yeah, throughout that, I mean, when they have a 4-1 lead, they're shooting themselves in the foot with the 3-1 lead, and these they don't have any consistent lines, but they also don't have consistent play, and these 2 inconsistencies are a huge factor, and I'm concerned, even though with their 3-game losing streak, it hasn't happened a lot. They either come out with a point in overtime or they, in a shootout, but
right.
Yeah,
they need they need to get rid of these bad mental lapses.
Yeah.
Because it leads to goals and kind of stupid penalties like shooting the puck out of the...
Yeah, and it's not the rookies doing it. It's the veteran guys.
Yep. Jalmerson got the second one. Kane got the first one. And Brian Campbell got the third delay of game penalty.
All veteran guys.
Well, I also had that Arizona had 46 hits compared to Chicago's 8. I mean, this just shows you the scrappiness and a lot of board play.
Yeah.
By the Coyotes. And board play, we're talking about, folks, is when you just bring your guy into the boards and try to, you get the puck out. Yeah, impede his progress. That's the biggest thing about a body check is trying to impede the progress and separate the man from the puck. And you don't want to hurt the guy. You just want to get the puck away from him.
Excellent point.
And that's what Arizona is doing with all this board play. They're bringing guys in, and that counts as a hit. I mean, they're also being counted by their own stat guy. At home. So we got to maybe think about that a little bit. But this is my favorite stat of the night. Arizona in the face-off dot was 50.8%.
That's why the Hawks need Martin Hansel.
But just 0.8%, and the Hawks were 49.2%.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was so close. It was so close to being even.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, with Marcus Kruger being back there, that's a huge difference maker, I
mean, when you have Taves and Kruger, you got good face-off men.
And Nisimov, too.
Nisimov's gotten a lot better as his career's gone on. Yeah. And then Chicago blocked 21 shots. I mean, they were no slouches that game, and Arizona blocked 11. I mean, usually it would be the other way around, you would think.
I remember in the first period, Jalmerson got 3 in a row.
Yeah, that's true. Shots. That's true. Good observation, Chad. Arizona had 7 takeaways. 7 giveaways, and 3 takeaways. Chicago had 5 giveaways and 1 takeaway. So, the Hawks did good at not giving the puck away, but they didn't really get the puck from the Coyotes as much as the Yotes did.
No. And, it was definitely one of those back and forth games. One guy would... You would say it wouldn't be like a necessary giveaway, but... when the Coyotes came into the zone, they're all, having 5 guys back, starting from their own zone, and then having to go.
Yeah, having that trap going.
That slows down your offensive abilities, even though they put up 3 goals, which is really good. I mean, the Coyotes do a very good job at that, so you got to give them credit where it's due. The Hawks' speed and, them, creating the shots, all that stuff like they do,
it wasn't their best game, but they do have the talent and the speed there. That's the important thing. And you know what? This was an awesome game to recap because it just was a close game. The stat lines were close, and you know what? It shows the Hawks that they can improve their play. People don't need to be worried. The Hawks can add a piece at the deadline if they want. The thing is, they just need guys to stay healthy, and they need to get rid of these mental lapses.
Yes, consistency also. And once they get that down, yes, you're right. The talent is there.
Yeah, they've been there before. How many cups have they won since 2010? 3. It's 2017. They won 3 in 7 years. Yeah, they've been there.
Hey, very good points there, Phil.
All right, well, let's get to some news, man.
All right.
Well... like you just found out pre-show, LA Kings goalie Jonathan Quick just started practice from that bad groin injury he had maybe in the 3rd or 4th game of the year. And I remember him going down. They had to turn the Jeff Zach off. And then now Peter Budaj's been carrying the load and doing phenomenal for LA.
Yeah, I think they may be in a wild card spot.
Yeah, it's been close. For an old guy, and Budaj's actually talked about it many times with the media. He's just been making the most of his opportunity. And now I think that'll just show that Zakoff will go back down to the league, hone his craft. I mean, the league is in the AHL.
Yeah.
And Quick will come back up. Maybe Quick will still practice. Zakoff, I say, will be with the team for another week or so.
Huh. Well, you know what? I mean, the fact that he's, coming back, Jonathan Quick.
A very good sign.
Very good sign. The fact that they held out in a wild card spot without him.
Oh, they played with Budaj. I mean, it's the team rallying around the backup goaltender, which, is always... That's what most teams, pretty much all hockey teams do when the backup's in. They play a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely do.
They don't have to rely, or they know they can't rely, quote unquote, can't rely on the goalie as much.
On one guy, right?
But then you never know with your backup what you're going to get. You could have a gem like Craig Anderson. Look at backup to starter.
Yeah, you never know. What was it? Ty Conklin. Back in the day, he was going for a while, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best examples, man. Ty Conklin. Another news: Marleau got his 500th career goal. Congratulations, Patrick Marleau of the San Jose Sharks.
Congrats! Yeah, it was Joe Pavelski cross-ice pass, and no one's earned it more but Patrick Marleau. He's been great.
Yeah, I mean, a serious trooper with those San Jose Sharks. There's some bad years. It was nice seeing him get to the Western Conference Final and then the Cup Final last year.
Oh,
Too bad they couldn't win it, but man, it was nice. And you said something about Joe Thornton. You mentioned something about him and Patrick Marleau earlier.
Yeah, they're in the same draft. He was Joe Thornton was a number 1 pick. I believe Patrick Marleau was a number 2 pick, and they're in the same draft, and now they're on the same roster.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. That trade that the Boston Bruins, made to trade Joe Thornton over to the Sharks. And you know what? Joe Thornton had some really good, really, really, really good seasons. As soon as the first lockout in 04-05 was ended.
Definitely. He's picked up his play. Being on Boston, being on Boston and all that, it was. I know that he was expected to be traded, and
everyone in Boston wasn't too happy with him towards the end, but he was a good, promising guy. They should have gave him a little more time. Would you have gelled under Claude Julien as he has with Todd McClellan before McClellan got fired with San Jose?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's tough to say.
Yeah. Claude Julien's not the problem, though.
True. Oh, man. Just when things were going good. I just had my stick out and the guy fell right off her, Chad. I mean, maybe I'm just saying that, but
I didn't see nothing.
I'm going up for tripping. Well, while I'm in the sin bin, let's talk about the Blues. What's been up with these St. Louis Blues, man?
Yeah,
I just got to say, it's been an up and down season for them, and I have not expected this.
No, you definitely haven't. You wouldn't have guessed that Ken Hitchcock was going to get fired, huh?
No, I definitely did not see that coming. Definitely did not. I mean, and he got fired January 31st, I believe.
I believe it was last night.
Yeah, January 31st. I think it says here in this article. And you said Mike Yeo was the coach? Yeah, Mike Yeo.
What's your input on him?
Well, he's a former coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins and Minnesota Wild, and he was put in pretty good situations with both franchises, and with average or above average and an average team, and he didn't really manage his lines too well, from what I've heard through the media through the years.
Yeah, he got fired from both those teams, and you know it's kind of deja vu.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't. The Blues need the offense, and Ken Hitchcock is, a playoff coach. He won a cup with the Stars in '99.
Oh,
the infamous Brett Hull goal on Dominik Hasek. Everyone in Buffalo's still mad. I'm still mad.
Now, would you say Mike Yeo could pull it off with this team?
Oh my goodness! Can he manage some lines first?
The
bad thing is they have been relying on some inconsistent goaltending with Carter Hutton and their starter Jake Allen.
Yeah, I mean, they're 146 goals for, 158 goals against. It's a -12 difference.
Yeah, they used to be a positive difference, right?
A big positive difference, Phil. And now they're holding on by a thread with the second wild card spot, and I don't really see anybody who could take it. Calgary's fallen, Winnipeg's fallen. I don't see anyone that's really, gonna take the spot. I think they'll make it, but I don't think that they can. That's just because
they'll be a lower seed.
They'll be a lower seed and lower expectations in the playoffs. That's for sure.
I gotta say, I mean, I had been liking the season Jake Allen has been having, but that he just had a bad month, and that really put them back. And like I always say, you got to build from the net out, and it starts with Jake Allen. So
No, I agree.
It starts with him, and Hutton needs to be a better backup. He's been good at the start of the season, but he kind of, you can't have your goalie have mental lapses. That is what made Antti Niemi so good.
What's that?
Whenever the Hawks would have a mental lap in that 2010 playoff run, he would just save their butts.
He would save them, yeah, and he would
maybe face 18 shots in a night, and save 17. He'd let up one goal, but you know what? Those 17 saves, they were because the Hawks gave the puck up, and he had to save their butts on odd man chances or power plays to kill the penalties off.
Yeah, and this is the exact same team in a way. I mean,
they got nice solid lines. They got good defensemen, big defensemen too. That's one thing about this new age NHL. Ever since the first lockout in 04-05, it's been all about defense. Before it used to be all about having the best goalie in the league.
Yeah,
Hasek, Patrick Waugh, Marty Brodeur, Ed Belfour. You had to have big names.
Yeah, I mean,
now you can have anybody, a $3 million goalie. Look at Matt Murray won it last year.
Yeah,
and he have no good defense.
Yeah,
Daly, Crystal Tang. He had awesome two-way forwards in Crosby and everybody on forward basically for the Penguins.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, everyone is a good defensive forward on that team for sure.
And the Blues have that. They have that in Patrick Berglund. They have that in a lot of guys.
Paul Stastny.
Yes. Paul Stastny. Alex Steen.
Because
he's got that speed.
Yeah, Tarasenko is,
oh my God. Yeah. Tarasenko is just a menace in the offensive zone. And he's kind of been on a little hot-cold streak too. That's the whole thing about the Blues, this little slump they've been having is, they're how do I want to say it? They're slumping, but then they're on a hot streak. They're hot, cold, and it's not been good for them.
Yeah, you can only hope that by the time April comes, that they're hot. But
right, because the whole rest of the division's been doing well. Nashville's above the wild card now.
Yeah, they're third spot right now.
And the Hawks, control the division.
Well. No, Minnesota is right now.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're Minnesota's at plus 50 though.
Yeah, Minnesota's been doing awesome, but the Blues, they just need to. Mike Yeo needs to just maybe tweak the lines a little bit, and if he does it the right way, they'll be on a roll again. And Jake Allen is starting to pick his game up.
Yeah, and I mean that's definitely going to help Mike out, but. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would, with this coaching change, you guys first win. We'll see how it goes. Islanders, when they fired Jack Capiano,
and got Doug White.
Yeah, it boosted their morale, and it's good to see things different. We'll see if that that actually catches fire.
Right. Well, looks like my time's up here in the penalty box. Let's get to this week in hockey history. And boy, on February 1st, there were some good things that happened.
Yeah, what was your favorite?
Well, my favorite would be Ray Bourque becoming the Boston Bruins leading scorer, passing Johnny Busick. February 1st, I have the year here, 1997. He recorded a goal, and it was his 1,340th point in his career.
Yeah, he was an amazing player. I wish he would be mentioned more often.
Well, he was one of the top 100 greatest players.
Oh, he was?
Yep.
But what number was he?
Oh, they didn't number their players, but I think he was a player of the 90s, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So it was good. That's one thing that happened. What's one thing you happened liked this week?
Well, there was February 1st, 1980. Gretzky scores his first NHL hat trick in his 50th NHL game.
Wow, so he only had 1 and 2 goal games before his 50th NHL game?
Yeah, so even the best had to learn still, too.
Hey, that's a good observation, my friend. And then here is the biggie. February 1st, 1993.
Is this good or bad?
It depends. I mean, Gary Bettman became the commissioner. But it depends on your point of view. I think he's grown the sport. I mean, he did bring hockey to the Sun Belt. And look at some of those teams. Florida's doing better. LA's won a cup. Dallas has won a cup. San Jose's been in a cup.
Yeah.
Anaheim's won a cup.
Yeah, and now you got the Golden Knights coming up. So.
Yep, in Vegas. So there's been the good and the bad with Gary. Everyone loves the boom still.
Yeah.
He takes it. He laughs it off. But that's the biggest news we had for this week in hockey history. Well, we got some games to preview before we head out. Right?
Yeah. We have... You want to do Monday?
Yes. On Monday, we got a game. St. Louis at Philadelphia. It's a 6 o'clock game on NBCSN. Now, here we can see the Blues, see how they respond with Mike Yeo as their new coach.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the things that I would want to look out for. And then, obviously Philadelphia, I think they're a real test because every single team, every single game that they play, it's always close.
Yeah, and Philly, they're always a scrappy team too. Yeah. I think this is going to be a good matchup. You guys can catch this on NBCSN. And we'll also have the recap later on in the week here on the Blue Line on Judcast Radio and WJOB. So you can always check that out. But make sure you look it up on Monday. It's going to be a good game.
Hey, did you mention we're on YouTube also?
Oh, we are also on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel too. You can get the latest and greatest episodes from us here at On the Blue Line.
This one?
Yeah, so our next game we're going to preview is the only game on Wednesday, February 8th. And you know what? It's our hometown Chicago Blackhawks at the Minnesota Wild at 7 p.m. on NBCSN.
Yeah.
For local broadcasts here in the region, Northwest Indiana or Chicagoland area, it's going to be on Comcast Sportsnet, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to... there's a lot of Blackhawks fans I know that are excited for this one because... it's against Minnesota. It's their first and second place. To me, it obviously it matters, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a first and second place battle, but at the same time,
I mean, Minnesota's right now 33-12-5, and the Hawks are 31-17-5. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, they have a +50 differential in goals for and goals against.
2 all-star goalies, Dubnyk for the Wild and Crawford for the Hawks. They just came off the all-star game.
Yeah, Minnesota, they're a scary team.
They got big defensemen and Ryan Suter, man. That guy can hammer the puck too.
Yeah, definitely. And like we said before, Eric Stahl with his leadership role, he's got 14 tallies on the season. He's a big addition for that.
As long as the Hawks can do good containing... Pardon me. As long as the Hawks can get their third or fourth line rolling as like their first and second lines, I don't see how they can lose.
Yeah, and plus, like Quinville always says, you have to get the action off the shot against this goalie, Dubnyk. And if you don't, if you can't get the shots through, which Minnesota was so good in blocking in the last game.
Oh, yeah.
That's, you really have to be able to get into their faces.
Because not only does Minnesota like to block the shot, Dubnyk's a big goalie. He's a little bit bigger than Corey Crawford. I think he's maybe an inch bigger and probably about 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. And he's athletic. And, he kind of came of age in Edmonton. And then once he got to Minnesota, he just took off, man.
Yeah, the puck tracking ability that he's got.
Oh, he's a smart goalie too. Mm-hmm. I would say he's a little bit smarter hockey IQ wise than Crawford. Crawford's grown more as a goalie as his age has progressed too. This is going to be an awesome goalie battle. Mm-hmm. But I think the Hawks are going to do pretty good. They just got to keep rolling. Yeah. The bad thing is, if Minnesota gets to an early lead, they'll clamp it down defensively.
Yeah, that's the scary part, and they're not gonna hold back. The Hawks won't get. They're if the Hawks go down, like if let's say it's a 3-1 game. Let's say Minnesota with a 2-goal lead, they can their team, unlike the Hawks, can actually close out their games.
Yeah, they're gonna do what the Coyotes did, but a little bit more fierce.
Yeah, and better because they have more talent.
Yep, especially defensively. Well, that looks like it's all the time today for here at the rink, Chad.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's been a nice skate here over at On the Blue Line, the hockey podcast, over on judcastradio.com and on WJOB.
Don't forget YouTube.
Yes, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we have a Facebook page. You can look us up at On the Blue Line on Facebook.
We're on Twitter too.
Yes, at Blue Line Podcast. We're everywhere, folks. And thank you for joining us. This was a great honor to be with you guys again. And we can't wait to recap these 3 games for you guys next week. Oh,
Yeah,
I forgot to mention the 3rd game. That's my apologies, folks. It's going to be the New York Islanders at Philadelphia, 6 p.m. on Thursday, February 9th.
This is going to be coaching firing.
This is going to be a nice one to see how Philadelphia responds from how they play on Monday. They're going to see how they do after a 2-day rest. Excuse me.
And definitely also see that St. Louis fired their coach and Islanders fired their coaches here. Let's see how a team can respond to a coach getting fired, and it's a test.
It's a good thing to look out for too, man. That's a good call by you, Chad. Thank you.
I try.
Well, as we've mentioned before, we're on JudcastRadio.com. We're on Facebook at On the Blue Line. YouTube at On the Blue Lines. Be sure to subscribe to us. We're on Twitter at Blue Line Podcast. We love it, folks. We love hockey. We love the game in the NHL. We love to bring you the coverage.
Ask us questions.
Yes, we would love to take listener questions. We love to answer them. So be sure to get that to us. Thank you again for listening to us, folks. For myself, Phil Bernardi.
Chad Van Dersen.
Thank you again for listening to the On the Blue Line Hockey Podcast.